Welcome to the False Finish Podcast, your exclusive behind-the-scenes look at Honorary Wrestling Federation. I am your host, Jason Heat, and we are coming to you from the literal home of HWF in Lewistown, Pennsylvania, the home of Matt and our guest Trista Silks. This is the behind-the-scenes exclusive look, so if you want to maintain the mystery and not really get a sense of the sausage and how it's made, maybe this isn't for you, but we know you want to know all about HWF, so we're thrilled to have you, but not as thrilled, as cool as you are, as we are to have our owner and promoter, our boss, Trista Silks. How are you doing, Trista?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you for being here. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me as a part of HWF.
Thank you for being here. We appreciate it.
So I'm going to jump right in and put you a little bit on the hot seat. The first thing that I had any experience with you in HWF was you in an angle with your husband, Matt, where you guys were having marital difficulties in the story. The story was that Matt was so obsessed with the title that he was putting it above house and home, and that you had to kind of put him in his place, and we're playing sort of a Machiavellian kind of figure to sort of put him in tone. We had an interview here where I even sort of like said you guys weren't sleeping in the same bed anymore. Obviously that's a show, it's a performance. You're playing the character of Trista, he's playing the character of Matt, but it's still putting aspects of your relationship in a sort of very public forum, playing up the idea of problems. Was that like at all complicated for you as a decision to make? Was there any trepidation, or were you like, screw it, like I just, doesn't matter, it's a show, anything for the business, brother?
It was quite easy to come to the conclusion. We like to make our fans happy, and they like to see a little bit of conflict between us, so that's what we gave them.
Was there any unexpected reactions to that storyline? Did you have anybody come to you and be like, I know it's a bit, but like, are you guys okay?
Yeah, I think there was. I couldn't say off the top of my head who, but I'm sure at one point there was someone that, hey, everything okay at home? And of course it is.
I was about to say, let's double check. Is it?
Yes,
I wouldn't be a journalist if I wasn't, which I'm not. I'm a personality. But if I'm playing journalist, I got to find out. Is everything good?
Yes, everything is great at home.
So you are the owner and promoter of HWF. Matt, your husband, is the champion. He's the co-founder for Positive. And I think we can be honest, sometimes the negative. He is the very public face of the company.
Yes, he is.
But you are the promoter and the owner, slightly more under the radar. I'd like to find out, what are your actual responsibilities in those roles? You know, as being promoter and owner, what does that mean to our fans? What are your responsibilities here in HWF?
My responsibilities are making sure that we are a legal show, that we have all of our paperwork in, tickets for sale, posters, talk to commission, make sure our doctor is there. It runs down, and also making sure that just everything's advertised. It's a lot.
Business and logistics, yes. A lot of that. Do you want to be more of the face? Not that I want to cause marital strife, but is it something that you ever think about in terms of maybe taking on more of that? Would that be a conflict with Matt if you decided to kind of maybe elevate your place as being more like, you're the boss, you're the owner? Should you be more of the official promotional face of the company, and Matt being more of a specific talent? Because right now he really does live in between those two worlds, and it's caused some conflict.
Yes, it has. But no, I am the promoter and the owner, and slowly people are starting to understand that. He may have our belt, my belt to be exact. But
take note of that.
Exactly. But he is the face. Lewistown absolutely loves him. They've loved him from the time that me and him got together, way before we got together.
And how long has that been now?
We have been together for coming up on 13 years.
Yeah.
Almost 14. So that was, I'd say they've loved him from 15, maybe even longer than that. He's been doing this for a long time. Maybe not completely professional. It was backyard. A lot of people here know that, but some might not know. Yes, it started on a trampoline, but
so did the Young Bucks.
The Hardys.
There's a proud tradition of backyard to pro. The important thing is taking that step to pro before you get in the ring with other professionals. Safety first, 100%.
Exactly. We bought a ring, 2011, and Rob Noxious was gracious enough to come in and train my husband and a few others here. And we just took it from there.
So let's focus on you. It is difficult on the best of days to play a character. But particularly in wrestling, one of the things that's complicated is that people portray characters sometimes that are accentuated versions of themselves, but a lot of them also have a different name. You are Trista Silks, but you're playing the character of Trista Silks. Is that complicated for you? Where do you find you're able to draw the line, both for you in terms of the difference between who you are as a person and that character, but also in terms of how other people may see you? Is that complicated for you?
Yeah, I would say it's getting used to the having it separated because I'm not a character, but I am a character at the same sense. I try to be a little different than who I really am.
What are the biggest differences? What would you say is the biggest shift from Trista at home to Trista in front of the camera?
Even now, doing this, it makes me very anxious, and being in front of people in general in the middle of the ring, that was a huge thing for me to overcome and be able to do.
If it helps, sitting next to me, you're going to look great.
Well, thank you. And it's mainly not even the look aspect.
I was just finding a way to
it's
self-deprecate.
My social anxiety that gets to me, being in front of a crowd, being the center of attention, that's not who I am. And so to do that and to be the face of a company and to even promote a company, it's definitely different than who I am.
Do you like having a role on stage, as it were, then? Or would you actually prefer to purely be the business owner? Like, if you could have it the way you wanted it, would you be in the role that you're in? Or would you just be doing all the incredibly important business work, making sure the thing runs and taking yourself out of that?
No. And I say that because sometimes the owner and promoter needs to be there. And I rather have it be me than just a character that we pull in as the owner and promoter. So it's just something that I need to learn, that I'm still learning. We're almost a year mark in. Summerfest, July 31st, will be a complete year of running in Lewistown. So we're very excited. And
How are you finding this to be empowering you then? Are you finding that by doing this role you are gaining some of that confidence? Is that still obviously a work in progress, but are you feeling that happen, or is that still honestly like a bit of a ways away and you're working towards that goal?
It's definitely still working at it, but I can say that I was more comfortable the second time I was seen out there than the first time. So I know that in time, the more that I am out there, that I will become more comfortable. I don't know about how much more comfortable, but
there may be a ceiling.
Yes.
Do you have anybody working with you, coaching you in terms of performance? Do you have any kind of performance background, or is this totally a new role for you in terms of being an on-screen character in something like this?
No, there's no coaching. I mean, I have some people that talk to me and say, like, give me little ideas and stuff, but I try to come up with things myself as well, but you always need help.
Always. Yeah, absolutely.
You always need people backing you, and I have great people backing me. So,
who do you seek out for feedback when you are looking for words of wisdom or some advice, whether it's on the business side or whether it's the on-camera side? Who are the people that you go to in the world of wrestling or outside of it to be your sort of mentors and guides?
It would be my husband and our HWF crew. We have amazing people that we have working for us that are here through everything, from camera work to figuring out food for the venue. We have great people.
HWF, as you mentioned, will have been around for 1 year in its current professional iteration, running shows in Lewistown, Pennsylvania, with Summerfest 2022 taking place Sunday, July 31st, 5 p.m. bell time, earlier show than usual and a different day, and it does mark the 1 year anniversary. So, Trista, at the 1 year mark, or just shy of it as we're recording it right now, what would you say is the biggest success of HWF in its first year? And what would you say its or your biggest challenge has been in this first year?
I would say our biggest success is getting to the year mark. You never know what wrestling is going to bring. The fans need to be there, and we have graciously accepted. Our fans have continued to watch us for years now.
And grown.
Yeah. Oh, yes. They have definitely grown. We have fans all over PA that come to see us. Our biggest challenge would be growing more. We would love to grow even more than we are now, maybe even get a bigger venue at some point. And as it stands, that's probably our biggest challenge.
What do you think is more likely to come first for HWF? More shows in a given year here in Lewistown, or adding a secondary market, so having a shows in Lewistown and shows in a different town and kind of expanding the breadth of the territory? Which of those two is more interesting or important to you in terms of the long-term growth for HWF?
Well, it's actually quite funny that you asked that, because we have actually started a sister company with one of our crew members, Tim Miller. He is now the owner of NCW, which is in Bannerville Firehouse. That will be actually his first show July 2nd, next Saturday. So we have actually expanded because our...
what is the exact relationship between HWF and NCW?
I'm the promoter for down there as well. Tim is the owner, and our talent will go down there and perform as well as doing up here, and we're hoping to run every other month off from what we run, HWF.
So what is the difference between the promoter and the owner in this circumstance? What does Tim do as owner versus what you do as promoter? Where are those lines drawn?
Owner, it's your show. You have to book it. You make sure that your talent is there. You make sure bills are paid. Me as promoter, I make sure that it is legal, that he has everything that he needs to make sure that it is a legal show by PA Commission. I make sure I do all the paperwork and the little fine stuff that he doesn't have to worry about.
What do you... some of this is going to happen naturally, but in terms of intention, from what you know from Tim, from you, from Matt, the rest of the Brain Trust, other than the location being different, is there going to be a different aesthetic between NCW and HWF? What is going to single out the different feel of these two different promotions? Or are they largely, like you said, very sister promotions, just happen to be in different areas?
No. Tim Miller is looking to do things a little more hardcore than HWF does.
Oh, really?
Yes. They're just looking for maybe a little more pain, I guess you could say.
A little more aggression?
A little more aggression than HWF has shown so far.
Okay.
He's looking to do a little bit more.
Leaning into some of the certain style of traditional Philadelphia wrestling.
Yes.
Trista, you are one of, thankfully, becoming less of a rare breed, but still fewer than we need to have in terms of being a woman who is in a position of power in a wrestling company as both an owner and a promoter. So to put you on the spot, I will say, so here you are, a woman who is in charge of this company, but so far HWF has not had a women's division or very much representation from women's talent. Is that something that we can look to see change? What are your thoughts on that? What's the future for having more women in larger roles in HWF? Is that a goal for you? How do you feel about that?
Yes, actually, that is a goal for us. We would love to have a women's division. I think that there is a lot of great women out there wrestling right now.
Absolutely.
And it's coming slowly. We are just waiting for, I can't say the perfect women to come across, but we've seen some that we definitely have our eye on. It's just a matter of getting them in and making sure that the fans are entertained.
Is that something you feel is realistic for year 2? Do you think that within the calendar year 2022 to 2023, we may start seeing the beginnings of a women's division in HWF? I know I would be very for it.
Oh, yes, I am very for it. I would love to have a few women to come in within the next year.
You don't have to. This is not a guarantee. I want to be clear. We're not saying these people are getting a call. Everything can change. Card subject can change. I'm putting her on the spot. Caveat, caveat, caveat. Who are you digging right now on the scene? Who are some of the women's wrestlers that you are aware of that you're like, yeah, I think they would do great things in HWF?
Adina Steele.
Yeah.
I would absolutely love to see her come in.
What is it about Adina Steele that really speaks to you?
Her look. Her work, she does not only work women, she also works men, which a lot of women don't.
Yeah.
Some do.
How do you feel about intergender wrestling?
If it's put together the right way, I think it's tasteful. I've seen some things that aren't put together as quite as well as they could be, but I think as long as it's put into the storyline the right way, then yeah, it works.
I find that really heartening. I'm a big fan of the same thing. I feel like what you said is for me, like, that's about anything. It's like, yeah, if you do it well, it'll work. Yeah. And if you point out the people that don't do it well, you're not proving that it doesn't work. You're proving that's how it doesn't work. Yes. So I'm really stoked to hear that. What is your philosophy on wrestling? Like, what makes a good wrestling show? What makes a good wrestling promotion?
Oh,
not too big a question.
No, not at all. Many different things. One, I think you need to know your fan base, what they like to see and what they don't like to see. You put in front of them something that they don't like, they're not going to come back.
What have you learned so far about the HWF fan base? What's something that maybe surprised you, or as you're building shows now, after a year of testing, how would you describe these fans, what they react to, what they want?
Oh, our fans want to see action in the ring. They want to see the wrestling aspect, and they like a nice, good storyline. They like to be involved with what's going on, and I think that we've brought in a few baby faces that I definitely didn't think our fans would flock to as much as they would, which is great because... Who's
the biggest surprise? Who's the person that's really taken off in a way that maybe sort of exceeded your expectations?
It would be Red Dog.
He's, I think, at this point, I'd say the number 2 most loved, consistent member of the roster. I would say Chuck is equally up there, but Chuck is a special attraction.
Yes, Chuck is definitely a special attraction. But yeah, he would be our biggest one. And then, and speaking of heels, we have some heels that our fans absolutely, I'd say, love to hate.
Yes.
They may not like him when he comes out there, but if he comes back, that the fans are going to come to see someone whoop his butt.
Who's that?
That would be Van Williams.
Yes. Van Williams is, I think, by far the single most hated member of this roster, and it's a country mile in terms of that. We talked about Chuck. Chuck Silks is Matt's brother. He's a bodybuilding champion. He has wrestled matches for HWF, but he has been very, very clear to say multiple times he's not a pro wrestler, but he does a lot of pro wrestling. We're going to get to the bottom of that one day. More important for this question, he is your actual brother-in-law. He's Matt's actual brother. You and Matt are actually husband and wife. This is quite literally a family business. Sometimes that's wonderful. There's this sort of Americanized ideal of the family business, but also in real life, sometimes working with family is the friggin' pits, and it's terrible and it destroys things. How have you both navigated having not only a business relationship, but a marriage partner, a family, you're raising kids, you've got the brother-in-law coming in, like, has that been rewarding? Has it been challenging? What are your thoughts on being part of a family business?
It's definitely challenging when you put family doing anything. It could be Thanksgiving dinner and something can go awire, but in the end, you know that you're family, and if you say that let's do this, that's what you do.
Running a wrestling promotion is not a simple thing. I've done it. You've done it. We're part of a unique and sort of exclusive club. What's one thing you wish you had known beforehand, or one thing you learned, one piece of advice for a would-be promoter, some wisdom or insight being on this side of the curtain that would be useful or that other people just may not know going into this business?
I think the best advice I could give anyone getting into the business of wrestling, whether it be wrestler, promoter, booker even, if it's working with what you're doing, it doesn't matter what anyone else says. If your fans are happy and your stuff is working, continue to do it.
You talked about not wanting to bring in a different character to be the owner, and I think that makes sense. But, and I like this decision, I'm a big fan of this guy, we have brought in Phil Stamper, the president of wrestling, to be another authority figure in HWF. How do you enjoy working with Phil? First off, because the two of you have been sort of linked on screen. And secondly, where do you want to see that relationship go and those dynamics and that character develop going forward into year 2?
Oh, Phil Stamper is a great asset to HWF. He is a wonder to work with, and he definitely helps with things that I can't get across. Sometimes in the world of wrestling, women are much smaller than they should be.
Yeah.
So bringing in a male aspect, it just helps. It greatly does.
Are there ways to help use Phil to leverage building you more power in the storyline? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like so much about wrestling is about using other people in the best way possible to get people over. You have somebody do this to put that person over. You do the job or the honors to somebody to help make somebody else. I think that, unfortunately, you're right. For a new fan base, as unfortunate as it might be, the idea that a male voice alongside yours may be taken with more seriousness or respect absolutely sucks, but it's very pragmatic. Are there ways to try and use what he brings to the table to shift that and to give you more and more of that ability so that in the future that's not necessary in HWF and in wrestling, so that you can go out there and just own the friggin' show all on your own?
Oh, yeah. I think that with him by my side for a while, helping things be smoothed out and everything, that I could do it without him, but...
Or maybe against him.
Or maybe. But, no, it's nice to have someone there to back you up when you need it.
Speaking of backing people up, one thing I've noticed in year 1 of HWF has been a lot of talent partnerships, basically a lot of trades, working with different organizations back and forth, AON, SWA, others. What are the positives and what are the challenges, without having to get into too many of the specifics, of trying to build bridges and work with other promotions? On the one hand, you get new talent, you get more support, you get promotion, but you also have different people with different creative ideas, egos. Anyone who is in a position of responsibility or authority has found themselves there because they do have something they believe in about what they bring to the table. Positives and challenges of working with other promoters and other promotions.
So far, we have definitely had our ups and downs. We've had some great talent come in to work with us from different companies, and we'll continue to have some of them back. We have a few that we've graciously parted ways, that nothing against them, nothing against us. It just wasn't working. We were going in different directions, and that happens, unfortunately. But you just look to hope that we all succeed, because there's such a huge wrestling fan base all over that everybody, if you do it right, could succeed in having a good show.
A rising tide lifts all rings. As we start to finish up, I want to throw the floor completely over to you. Coming up at the end of this month is Summerfest 2022. It is the 1-year anniversary show. The card is stacked. The title is being defended. We still don't know who. So first off, who do you want to see Matt Silks defend against? TJ Sykes or Van Williams? And two, why should people order the show?
Well,
and by order the show, I mean
come to the show.
Buy tickets.
Yes, tickets are on sale now. I would love to see him face either talent. They're both amazing wrestlers. Our fans love to hate some of them. It would just be a great matchup between any of them, maybe even a triple threat.
Really? Is that on the table?
Anything's on the table. Nothing's set in stone. Everybody knows that in wrestling. Nothing's ever set in stone. And sometimes you just got to throw a little curveball in there.
Well, that is the false finish, but it wouldn't be the false finish if we didn't kick out at 2 and throw one more question at you. So, Trista, heading into year 2, year 3, year 4, looking on at year 5, what is your dream goal? Where do you want to see HWF? Looking 1 year out, maybe 5 years out, pick something really important to you. What is the next big mountain to climb for Honorary Wrestling Federation?
Expanding. New location. We'd like to try to see if we can hook the wrestling fans in new locations.
Nice. Thank you so much, Trista, for being a part of the show. If you are on the internet, where can people find you as you sit high atop the tree of HWF?
You can find me on Facebook, Trista Silks.
And where can people find HWF?
Also Facebook. We also have Twitter that isn't used as often. That one's a little different than Facebook, but mainly Facebook, HWF.
And I am your host, Jason Heat. I'm one of the voices of HWF, but I also have a podcast called Collected Possibilities. It is an existential explorer's guide into the world of carnivals, fairs, festivals, amusements, arcades, and attractions. It comes out every Wednesday at 6 a.m. wherever you get your podcast. Just search Collected Possibilities. We're also on Facebook and Instagram at Collected Possibilities. Our email is collectedpossibilities@gmail.com. I certainly hope you will give a listen. Matt Silks has already appeared in an episode at the Lewistown Lanes Bowling Alley, and I'm sure more members of the HWF roster will appear soon. Coming up on Sunday, July 31st, a special Sunday show with a 5 p.m. bell time is Honorary Wrestling Federation's Summerfest 2022. The card is still being announced, but we know there will be a tag team match for the ages as Matt TRK Silks teams with Ray Scott against the demented team of Edward James and Steve Steele. The title will be on the line. We're not sure yet against who, and more to be announced. Definitely be there. Thank you so much, Trista.
Thank you.
Let's take it home.